Okay, now this is the money pit as far as I'm concerned. Now, when Cygnus sets to the northwest, like I just showed you, you can see Cygnus to the left. That sets a lot of things in motion around the island. And it lines up a lot of the things, a lot of the aspects on the eastern side. It does the money pit, Smith's Cove, Isaac's Point, a possible flood tunnel from the south, and the swamp. Now, if you look at Cygnus to the left, that represents Nolan's Cross. Now, look at due north. This is due north, standing on the money pit, looking due north. Draco is upside down. His belly represents a hole. And then you've got the Little Dipper representing a shovel and digging it out. Pretty, just that alone is kind of remarkable. Go back one more, Jake. Yeah, so you can't see below the horizon, of course. So what you see here is above ground. Now you take the horizon away in the next picture, and that is Corona Borealis. That represents the treasure in my eyes. If the money pit was, the horizon being the ground, the crown being the treasure would represent being underground. Now, you think, well, how deep is that? How do you know? I don't know. But symbolically, that represents a treasure to me. And you would think like, hey, how did they know that was there? How do you know the crown? Well, actually, it's not as hard as you think. If you take, everything to the north is at its lowest altitude. So if something's due north, you know that it's possible the star is at its lowest altitude in the sky. So if you take where it rises or where it sets and where it rises, and if you divide by 2, you meet right there, and you know exactly where exactly it would meet and when. Okay, the time that from the set and then to the rise the next day. So you know kind of where those constellations are, even though you can't see them. They'd be below the horizon. You can figure that out if you're an astronomer. So here we go. We have Cygnus representing Nolan's Cross. You have Draco upside down. You got the Little Dipper symbolism, digging it out, and then you've got the treasure, hidden underneath the horizon, all lined up due north, right from even the Welling Triangle. That's like Welling Triangle through the money pit to that treasure right there. Now, at the same exact time those two happen, you have Hydra rising over Smith's Cove. Now, if you look at the head of Hydra, you're going to look very similar to what those box drains might look like that way. Now, this is the water snake, remember? Water. And actually, one of the stars is called Hydro or Hydrus, meaning water. So you look at those stars and you think about Smith's Cove, like, yeah, it could be, But if you take the horizon away in the next slide, that leads back to the money pit there. Now, that could represent the flood tunnels, maybe. That's a water snake, and if you look at how far there, the brightest star, that could be the cave-in pit, maybe along that way. But I suggested that maybe the flood tunnels takes a little curve there, coming back towards the money pit, which would make sense if that's a cave-in pit and then comes back. Maybe they try to represent Hydra coming back towards the money pit. But I think that looks like flood tunnel to me, considering it's a water snake. Now, if you look to the right, I don't know if the next slide, I can't remember what the next slide is, Jake. Oh, yeah, here we go. So you have Smith's Cove there. See that green line to the left. Over to the right is Isaac's Point. Now, the ship's bow, right there, you guys know what Isaac's Point looks like. Go to the next slide. It kind of looks like a ship's bow to me. I'm just saying it's a theory. But you have the Argo, the bow of the Argo rising in that direction, and you have Isaac's Point looking like the bow of a ship. And it lines up perfectly. You got Smith's Cove, and then you got, Isaac's Point looking like a bow. I mean, they did touch on that in the show, that maybe there was some terraforming going on along that area. So it does look like the bow of a ship, and the Argo rises right there. To the south, over the South Shore. So you're standing on the money pit and you're just doing circles. Now we're to the south, looking towards the Welling Triangle, and you have this constellation. It's called the Iridanus River. That is from the sailing of the Argo. The Argo in the myth sails down the Iridanus. That is a river. So maybe that signifies a flood tunnel coming from the South Shore. Maybe. At the same time, to the west, you have Aquarius, which is a water sign. You have his jug being poured into the swamp, laying flat along the horizon to maybe represent the swamp to the west at the same time. So you have a 360 view of these constellations that actually have some kind of symbolic connection to all these spots on the island, all at the same time. They're all right there on the horizon, all at the same time, aligning to these geographical features on the east side of the island. It's pretty incredible.